familiar face, the Suzuki Swift. Such a big seller worldwide. They've sold 4 million plus of them over a number of years, and there's no surprise. It's such a popular car. It was recently given a minor update, and one of the first features you'll notice on the minor update is this chrome strip across the grille, dividing the grille into two parts. It just gives it a slightly more mean and aggressive look to it. You've got the nice little lip spoiler down at the bottom, and we'll come to it later in a lot more detail. But notice the fog lights on this GLX model. We'll talk a lot more about GLX, etc. just now. You come round, of course, again, a feature of this model. You've got the nice 15-inch mag wheels over there. You can see them. They look very neat, very nice feature to them. You have a look at the side profile of the Swift. They call it the helmet look. You can see over here that sort of forward look to it, quite low, fairly narrow windows for a car today, but it's all part of the neat look to it, and the clamshell effect on the bonnet, which of course is a Suzuki feature across almost all their models. So it is still very familiar Swift, that very distinctive, very funky look that the Swift has. Of course, when the last generation was launched a couple of years ago, they moved the door handles to the rear doors up top over here. Just a little pull, and there you open the rear door. And let's look at the space in the back while we're over here. You can see the nice cloth trim to it. Pretty good legroom in the back. Driver's seat is always set for myself, so get the idea of exactly where you're at. And definitely the feature here, Isofix in the rear seat. Note on either side, 2 Isofix fittings. Very, very important feature on any car, particularly one that's aimed at, shall we term, the younger end of the market. What they've done, I showed you that door handle, and when I close the door, note how the handle flows into this black trim in the seat pillar, again giving that helmet hunkered down look to the whole car. Very significant big rear tail lights over here. You can see them very clearly. Pop open the boot. Not a massive boot and a very high lip to the boot, but of course it's a safety factor as well. But you've got to, if you're going to put something heavy in this car, you've got quite a lift over. But anyway, it's a feature of the style and the design. You look under the boot board and you'll see you've got a space saver Mari biscuit spare wheel, but you've got a spare wheel at least, so definitely. The boot, probably about 230 litres of boot space in standard form, but you can drop rear seats 2/3, 1/3 to give yourself a lot more capacity if that's what you want. Of course, you've got rear park distance control beepers over there, and again, because this is the GLX, it does have a reverse camera, but we'll look at a lot more of the features like that once we're inside the car. Let's check it out a lot more carefully inside. On the road, of course, the Swift is known for its handling. It's a littler car, yes, and it's not an over-powerful car, but it's got the fun factor to it. And it can cruise all day at 120. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it does what you want, and just overall, it's a nice, easy car to drive. I think that's the point. It's got that fun factor to it. It's a magic factor that most people can't even explain how you get it or how you create it. But somehow Suzuki have done it. And just overall, easy, light, comfortable. You've got to obviously remember that it's not a turbo. So there are times you must just be aware of the responsiveness of that 61 kilowatts, that you're not getting turbo response. But then again, it goes back to the old story. If you wanted that, you'd end up paying a lot more money, wouldn't you? And it's all about money, value for money, and price these days. And Suzuki certainly fall into that value for money category every single time on the market these days. It's a fun car. It really is. And for the market sector, market category, I think Suzuki, I know, and Suzuki know, this is a winner. It has been for a long time already, and it will carry on being so for time to come, that's for sure. as always, let's start behind the wheel and let's look at the numbers. You can see we've done 265.4 kilometers on this test. But now, of course, pressing that little button over there, not on the steering wheel or on the stalks anywhere, you have to press these buttons. But look at that, 5 liters per 100. That's what I've averaged for this test. That's exceptional, isn't it? Typical of Suzuki and the Swift in particular. But you've got to really, really love a fuel economy figure like that. That is amazing stuff, 5 liters per 100. And that's been overall mixed driving as always. So I'm pretty impressed. Your steering wheel does have, you can see here, buttons for your sound system and to control that. And then on the separate one down there, they're your phone buttons. Okay, not bad. Now, one of the features of the recent facelift update, and I'm struggling to get the camera to show it, but it just doesn't want to go there, is, I'm going to have to just explain it to you. They added an electronic skid program, ESP, to the cars. And that was one of the big features of the change on the model when they brought in that latest. ESP with traction control. Obviously, you can switch out the traction control if you want to play hooligan. Don't advise it. Something else, now remembering we're in the GLX, is look over there, engine start button. GA and GL models have to do with a key. Of course, part of the stop-start button is on GLX. You also get push button, keyless entry on the doors. So keep that in mind as well, that is what GLX brings you as opposed to GA and GL, because there are the 3 models in the range. Now, very important to tell you, all powered by that same engine. I mentioned to you the 1.2 litre 4-cylinder, 61 kilowatts, 113 Newton meters of torque. Across the range, all exactly the same. But now let's tell you what's different about the GLX, which obviously costs you a little bit more money. Well, you get the nice big screen on the GLX. You can see touch screen. It has, of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can see my phone's linked, but I haven't done Android Auto. I haven't done phone linking on it at the moment, but there's the home button, for example. We're on the home, in fact, now, but you can see exactly how it works, media. It's all exactly the same. I don't need to tell you, but you can link it very quickly. You come down. Oh, and sorry, back on the screen, another very important feature of GLX only is reverse camera. Great stuff with guidelines, markers, etc. So there you go. GLX does get you that as well. Down to the center over here, GLX spec. Other models have, of course, just normal air conditioning. You have auto air conditioning or climate control, call it which you will, but that's what you get on GLX spec as well. Down you can see a 12 volt and a USB over there, down in front of the gear shift. So you do have those. No other ones in the car, unfortunately, but I'm not going to complain that much, just mentioning it to you. And here you go. Of course, your very slick, very neat, very snick, as they call it, 5-speed manual gearbox. In this one, you can get a 5-speed auto AMT, as Suzuki call it, version as well if you do choose, and you'll add about 16,000 Rand to the price of the car for that. But it's a choice only you can make. Good old manual type handbrake, very much old school, let's call it, and that's the way it works. 2 airbags in the car across the range. It doesn't matter which one you get, you'll get 2 airbags. Very neat. You can see the round vents for aircon. All plastic, yes, but it feels pretty good. And there's this sort of metal type strip in the center over here. Now, something I must comment on that doesn't impress me at all is you have, I mentioned, keyless entry and keyless start, but there's no door locking on pull-off. You've got to press the button on the driver's door to lock all the doors. And really, for South African use, I've said it so many times and I'll keep repeating myself, I believe auto door locking on pull-off should be a requirement in the South African market. That's me. Well, let's talk money now, of course. As we are in this one at the moment, GLX spec manual gearbox, you're looking at 218,900 Rand. You can drop down to a GL. It'll cost you 199,900. You'll notice there was an increase of 4,000 to 5,000 rand over the model before the upgrade, as they termed it. But you got the ESP for that. You got a couple of other features added that weren't on the previous ones for the extra money. So there basically was no price increase, which is also a kudo for Suzuki, I think. So for the extra 19,000 rand, what are you getting? Well, I showed you the mag wheels, really nice ones. I showed you the keyless entry and keyless start, really important. The touch screen with, of course, as I said, connectivity and reverse camera and the auto air conditioning as opposed to manual. That's what you get for the extra money from GL to GLX. Choices only you can make. Do you want the extras? Do you not want the extras? Do you want the luxuries? Do you not want the luxuries? Whichever one you choose, you're getting the same engine and gearbox, as I said, and you're getting the same typical Suzuki nippy feel to it. This car belies at 61 kilowatts, as far as I'm concerned. Remembering that Suzuki are experts and masters in lightweight construction. You're talking 875 kilos, this car. So your power to weight is excellent in spite of a fairly low figure. And that makes such a difference. And it really is a fun car to drive and to handle around the road. And that's what also makes a difference. You do get a 2-year, 30,000 kilometer service plan thrown in on any spec you want. Really, choices only you can make. But in this category, at under 220,000 Rand in today's world, this is a lot of car for your money, and it certainly is competitive. And that's proven and shown by the sales figures that they keep coming up with month after month. There may be one or two little things, but every car has those, and there still isn't the perfect car no matter what. That door locking I have to go back to is something that does, I believe, seriously lack on this car, but that's about it. Overall, you're looking for a hatchback at the lower end of the market in today's world, but not the tiniest. Well, the Swift always deserves a look and a test drive. For Motor Matters, I'm Eleanor, and I'll see you next time.